Hi, I hope you are having an amazing day. Today, I just wanted to chat about a few things that I do when I find myself feeling really overwhelmed and too busy and like there's too much shit to do and not enough time in the day. I really feel like when you can only see the top half of my outfit like this, I feel like I'm in a space movie, don't you reckon? My astronaut outfit. Anyway. So, these are just a few things that I like to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I highly recommend doing them if you have been feeling like you have no idea where to start, and we can really indulge in that feeling of overwhelm, because if we feel overwhelmed, we can let that be an excuse for not having to do anything. And if you're a perfectionist, then you're probably scared to do something in case you're not good enough. So if you're overwhelmed, you never have to start, and you can just say, oh, but I have no idea where to start, so that's why I haven't done anything, when that is not the real reason. So that is just one of the sneaky ways self-sabotage can get us. So these are a few things I like to do, and it mainly involves getting everything out of your head and onto a page. So I had to do this yesterday with my coach because I was saying that I was feeling really overwhelmed about how many things there are that I want to improve about what I am doing with Smart 20s. And he was like, okay, well, let's write it down so we can see the actual lay of the land. And of course, when you do this, things aren't nearly as overwhelming when you've got a list of, oh, it's just these 5 things or whatever it is, instead of there's a million things to do, and we really exaggerate it when it's just spinning around our head. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed, and this doesn't have to be with a business or it doesn't have to be with uni, it can just be with absolutely anything. If you have been not taking action, then it is probably, if you're a perfectionist, because you're letting yourself stay in that overwhelm. And the way to get out of it is to make decisions. And you can only make decisions once you know what the real situation is. So step 1 is to write down everything you want to do on paper, with a paper and pen, like in a notebook. Do not type it out. I mean, you could, but I feel like this stuff really works so much better when you get out the old pen and paper and actually get your mind engaged in writing things down physically. It just, I don't know, typing it out just doesn't get the brain going in that same way. So step 1 is to write down everything that you want to do. Do not be scared if it is a super long list. Normally, it's our thought that the list will be really, really long that stops us from writing it. And then we write it down, we're like, oh, there wasn't that many things to do. And it really is clarifying. So write down everything in your head that is making you feel overwhelmed, and do it now. You don't need to wait for the perfect time to do it, or you don't need more information about different things. Just everything in your mind, write it down. The next step is to begin prioritizing and to really start making decisions. So if you've written down, like for the example of what I did yesterday, my notebook's in my bag, we went through all the different areas of things that I want to work on. So there was blog posts, social media, my online course, and a few other things. And we went through and said, well, what's the most important one to do? And once I identified that as wanting to write blog posts, then we could prioritize to put 1 and then just go down the list like that. And then, well, before I go on to the next step, it really helps you see that there's a lot of things on that list that might not even be important, that might not even need to be done. If at this stage you can cross something off completely and be like, oh, that doesn't actually need to get done. You know, I have only a limited amount of time and energy, and it'll be better to focus my energy on this thing rather than that thing. If you can cross things off completely, that is one of the best ways to get things done. So yeah, if you go through it and just cross things off, prioritize. So if I could only do one thing on this whole list, what would it be? And then, okay, well, if I could do two things, and asking yourself like that, don't come at it from the angle of how can I fit all of this in. Really prioritize it and think in that mindset of, you know, I only have a limited amount of time and energy. What is the best use of that time and energy? What will have the biggest impact on my life, or whatever it is I'm trying to do? So going through and creating a order of priorities and crossing things off if you can, or just saying that's for another time. My main focus is whatever it is. Then the third step, so first step, write it down. Second step, prioritize it, and really be real when you're prioritizing it. Don't have, you know, things at the same level of priority or that kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to be like that. And you really have to be honest with what is the biggest priority and what will have the most impact. And to try and not let yourself just be drawn to those things that are comfortable, but also to really say, okay, if I wasn't scared that I'm not able to do something, or if I didn't have any fear around any of these tasks, because some of them, you know, if you have a list of ways to improve your life, and if, say, one of them is waking up early, but you're scared you won't be able to stick with it, which a lot of perfectionists don't start something if they're worried they won't be able to stick to it. If you let that taint your prioritization, so if you let that fear make your list of priorities and say, oh, well, it's not really that important, when you know it is the most important thing, yeah, it's not good. So really be honest, and don't let fear or any kind of idea about whether or not you can do something impact what you put as your priorities. The third step is either to then put those tasks into a calendar. So it can be either your like MacBook calendar, or you can print out like you know, it has June and all the 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean, like a month A4 page. I really hope you know what I mean. And then you just write in the deadlines for when you want those things to be done. It really makes a huge difference to put it on a calendar instead of just to have this really long to-do list. I know that when I've just kept things in a to-do list, I really get nothing done, because every time I look at it, it's so overwhelming. It never feels like I'm making progress. Like if I have a long to-do list, I never finish the day having ticked off everything. So I always feel like I haven't done enough. And that makes me not even want to start, because it feels like it's not even going to make any kind of difference. So if you put it in a calendar, it's essentially like making mini to-do lists and breaking it down. And that is how to get shit done and how to stick to your plans. And if it is a list of like ways to improve your life, and you know, you want to start a morning routine and that kind of thing, you can also put that in your calendar. So put what time you're going to wake up, what activities you're going to do. The idea is to get it out of this vague, I'm too busy in my head, or I don't know where to start, and to put it down to something really specific with a deadline. And put it on a calendar, especially if you're a visual person like me. I love laying things out on printed out calendars, which I used to do all the time for uni. It also gives you a real concept of time and just how quickly weeks can fly by. So either doing that or putting it on your MacBook calendar or in a diary, just something to give it that real deadline. Or the time that you can go, okay, it's 8 o'clock, I'm going to do that now as planned. And then the final step is to follow through with the plan, which is discipline. And I know that discipline does not sound fun, but discipline is really just the ability to make a plan and follow through with it regardless of whether you feel like it in the moment. It is, I think, the best, most important skill that you can learn, because a lot of perfectionists as well, we love making plans because it's a really productive feeling way to procrastinate, and we let ourselves stay in that planning stage for way too long. And yeah, it really... Wait, I have just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? What the hell was I saying? I know I was talking about perfectionism. Oh well. This is what happens when you film videos and you don't edit them. So I'm not editing this out, and I was just distracted because Steve just got home. He actually had a football injury on Friday night. He plays AFL and had a tackle, and then he had to go and get an MRI to figure out what exactly is wrong with his knee. So that distracted me, and now I have lost my train of thought. But I really think, so write down everything that's been, like, I have so much to do. Write down what that means on paper, prioritize it, put it in a calendar, and then follow through. Oh, that's what I was saying. Perfectionists love making plans. I knew I'd remember. Perfectionists love making plans. And we, as I was saying, we indulge in that planning stage. And if we don't have the ability to follow through with our plan, regardless of whether we feel like it, which means we stop asking ourselves, oh, do I feel like it? Or, oh, I'll go to the gym later if I feel like it. Or I'll see how I feel. Those questions do not help us whatsoever. So if you can learn how to make a plan and then how to follow through with it, and expect yourself not to feel like it when the time comes, but learn how to do it anyway, then you will trust yourself so much more. And I know I get so many emails about my readers being scared to like start a morning routine or start exercising or anything like that, because they've already let themselves down so many times in the past, because they've only done things when they felt like it in the past, that they're scared to even try. And once you can get in the habit of making a plan, following it, making a plan, following it, you trust yourself, you have so much more confidence in your ability to achieve your goals, because you know, all I have to do is make a plan and I have the discipline to follow it regardless of what happens. And relying on motivation is such a mistake. It's an easy one to make because we are surrounded by advice about how to stay motivated, and we are told that motivation, which does feel amazing, but we are told that we should try and just keep getting that feeling back, whereas I think it's more important to learn how to follow a plan when you're not feeling motivated, because no one feels motivated all of the time. At least I definitely do not. I probably don't feel motivated more often than I do feel motivated, but I am, especially over the last few years, I have gotten so much better at following my plans, and it has made such a difference. So that's all I really want to share with you today. I hope you have found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every day, except I haven't for the last week or so because I was sick, but I am back on it. So yeah, I hope you have the best day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.